What is going on, everybody? Welcome back to the Bettor and the Bookmaker. Now, unfortunately, this episode is coming out a little late. My co-host Anthony is a little under the weather this weekend, and he could not make it. So I did want to get some picks out to you guys. If you followed along last week, boy, oh boy, we done what we call in the business a clean sweep. We swept the board. That's right, Oklahoma dominating in their opening game there at the 12 o'clock hour, as well as Georgia putting the foot down on the neck of South Carolina. Later on in the night, Texas handled business as I predicted. And also, if you're following me on Facebook, not the Crime and Entertainment page, but my personal page, I also did add a late play for USC Southern Cal. So I can't necessarily put that one on the Bettor and the Bookmaker, but I did throw that out there for the general public. I do pick games from time to time, but that's not on the Bettor and the Bookmakers picks. Now those I put a little bit more thought, effort, and time, if you will, researching. So those are ones you're going to put some money on if you're following along. So sweeping the board on Saturday. Sunday, we did get lucky. We covered the over in the Oakland and, Las Vegas and Arizona game. We did get lucky in that. It covered in overtime, but a cover is a cover. We lost a week before by a smidge, so this week we won. So we'll take it when we can get it. The teaser, one teaser that we had lost. We had Kansas City and Cleveland, and if you watch that Cleveland game, how they managed to fuck that win up, I really don't know, but they did, and they lost to the New York Jets. Nobody really seen that coming, so that kind of put that one in the crapper for us. Now the 10-pointer, which was, I said, the teaser of the week, that one panned out. We had Buffalo, we had Denver, and then we had Oklahoma from Saturday. So that one brought in big money. So all in all, a profitable week for you guys if you followed along with the Bettor and the Bookmakers picks. Now, going into this week here, our NCAA. I believe this is where the bread and butter is going to be made this weekend, ladies and gentlemen. College right now, at least for some, is really easy to pick. Now, the first one we're going to start off with, Oklahoma. It's kind of like the girls that you take to the dance, man. You ride them until they're tired of dealing with you. And Oklahoma, in my opinion, is one that you can ride for quite a while. I can't stress the importance of Brent Venables taking his defensive mindset over there to Oklahoma. That's by and large what they've been missing for quite a long time, is a defensive mindset over there in Oklahoma. I think laying the 13 is a little risky. I know that K-State is usually a tough opponent. Last year, Oklahoma pulled it out 37-31. So I wouldn't put a ton on that, but Oklahoma is home. They've way blown out opponents. They've covered by double digits, I think, almost every game. So I do feel comfortable they will win that, especially with it being 13. I think that's probably a good opener for a 10-point teaser up there for sure. But take Oklahoma minus the 13. Now, Alabama, as Joe Pesci said, and my cousin Vinny. They're laying 41 to Vanderbilt. I believe they cover it. Again, not one to bet a ton on. I would say, whatever your small normal wager is. Last year, Bama beat them 59 to nothing. So Vanderbilt is just really bottom of the barrel right there in the SEC. Bama should cakewalk that on out. Maybe even a first half bet on that too, because I got a feeling Bama will jump out early. Now, we're going to get to my NCAA game of the week, and it is the Clemson Tigers versus Wake Forest. Now, I do know Wake Forest is undefeated, folks, but Clemson hasn't lost to Wake Forest in quite a while. Last year, when Clemson was struggling, they won 48-27. I do not see a way Clemson does not win this game by at least a touchdown. So if you're getting this game at 7, that's great value. If you have the ability, buy it down to 6.5. That way, if it is a 7-point game, something crazy happens. If they're up 2 scores, they give up a late trash score, you'll still win it. I can't tell you how many times that's happened in the last few weeks. Teams be up, they let a team score at the end in garbage time. It happened in the Kansas City LA Chargers game last week. They're up multiple scores. They don't really care if somebody scores at the end, but it matters to the bettors over here, and it matters to the bookmakers, folks. So my game of the week is Clemson minus the 7 in Wake Forest. Also, I do like Texas. Texas is playing Texas Tech. Last year, they won that game 70-35. Texas is playing great ball over there this year. I do believe they win that game at 6.5, so you're getting it at under a touchdown. Great, great value there with that one. So I would definitely say Clemson and Texas also is a great 7-point teaser. So you can make both of those games essentially even. So all the Clemson and Texas have to do is win, and you would collect your money. Now, over to the NFL side of things. Buffalo. Buffalo is just beating the living fuck out of everybody they come across. They're only -6 right now to Miami. Miami, I think, is really high on their own supply and media coverage. I think Baltimore just fell asleep behind the wheel. I do not think Miami is as good as they looked last week. However, I do think they are going to hang around in this game, but Buffalo will eventually pull off. Buffalo's got too many weapons on offense. Kyle Allen is just in a zone right now. There's not a lot you can do to stop that man. You really only can hope to contain him, as that old saying goes. However, I did see that Buffalo is minus a few key players on the defense, so it could become a shootout. You know, over is not going to be my pick on that one. I am going to go with Buffalo, but over might not be a bad bet either. So Buffalo -6 against Miami. I think that game is tight. I think Buffalo pulls off a little bit later in the game. Now, KC going to Indianapolis. Indianapolis just got monkey stomped last week. Okay. I mean, just beat up in their own stadium. I don't see why KC, after a good week's rest, because they played the early game, remember last week, folks, on Thursday night. So they've got plenty of rest, why they can't go in there and win this game easily by a touchdown. So Kansas City, definitely my pick there versus Indy. Now, Baltimore. Baltimore's going up against the New England Patriots. This has historically been a good rivalry. Belichick has had Baltimore's number, but he also had a guy by the name of Tom Brady for a lot of those matchups, which we know that man is down there in Tampa right now. So that's not going to do him very good. I think Baltimore is going to be super pissed, super focused for screwing that lead up last week. And I do like Baltimore -3 against New England. So I think that's a great pick, great value. Now, over. We always want to throw over and under in there for you folks. Over in Washington, Philly, that number right now is sitting at 47. Philly is putting up some points. They're playing out of their minds. Washington is putting up points, and Washington's defense is not very good. So I think this will be a shootout. I like over the 47. So here are the major teasers that I'm doing. Okay, I told you one earlier. You got Clemson and Texas on the 7-pointers. I think that's a good one there. Now, I'm also going to take Clemson in Kansas City. So basically you would put Clemson even. Kansas City at that point would become a 1.5 favorite. It's really insignificant, but all they got to do is win the game in Indianapolis. Now your big one, your 10-point teaser, ladies and gentlemen, we're going to take the Buffalo Bills. So you're going to make them +4, because I believe if that game doesn't go their way, it'll be a close one with Miami winning by a field goal. Obviously, then I'm also going to throw in Oklahoma in there to make them -3. And I'll probably add the Kansas City Chiefs to make them +4.5 for some reason. If they do not cover or do not win the game, at least they won't lose by more than 4.5 points. So the 10-point teaser, Buffalo, Kansas City, and Oklahoma. So there you have it, folks. Hope you're following along with the Bettor and the Bookmaker. You're making a few dollars. Maybe you bought something nice for the missus. Tell her from old Hollywood there, you know, buy her a drink. Tell her it's on me. We're here to try to make you guys money. But in the end, does it all go to the Bookmaker, or does the Bettor come out on top? Last week, the Bettor come out for sure. What will this week hold? I guess we'll find out. Let's start off tomorrow. Again, to recap really quick, our bets for the week in college: Oklahoma -13 over K-State, Bama -41 over Vanderbilt. Your game of the week, folks, Clemson -7. If you got a house, a car, a dog, an old lady, a pig, whatever, put it on Clemson. I think they're going to dominate that game. And also we got Texas at 6.5 versus Texas Tech. Up there to the NFLs again, we like Buffalo -6 over Miami, KC -5.5 over Indy, Baltimore -3 over the Patriots, and over 47 in Philly and Washington. The parlay of the week I am going with is Texas and Clemson. The 10-pointer is Buffalo, Oklahoma, and Kansas City. So lock those in, folks. If you hit them up, share the show. Share the Bettor and the Bookmaker. Tell folks, hey, we're listening to these guys. They're going to throw out some winners you should probably listen to. So hopefully next week, Anthony will be back in the studio. I want to wish him, all the best. Hope he's getting over his little sickness there. He's a little under the weather. I didn't want him to have to come on here and, could barely talk. So hopefully he'll get back in the studio next week, and we can go ahead and pump these out to you. All his picks won, too. Ohio State, Tampa Bay, all those guys covered. So, it's not only, Hollywood's picks is ringing. Anthony nailed them last week, too. So definitely a week for the bettors. The bookmakers were left on the short end. What will it be this week? Only time will tell, folks. Tune in next week for the Bettor and the Bookmaker.